I turned myself over to the chairman of the history department at my college, Queens College. I told him my problem. He said, you know, there's a Professor Surrett here, Dave Surrett. He's a professor of American history. One of his sidelines is studying the Enigma code used by the German submarines in World War II. He may have a clue for you, since we're talking about code breaking. And I spoke to Dave, he said, oh yeah, I told him what my area was. He said, oh, there's somebody in Washington you should call up. She will know where you can find things. I gave him her name and number, and I called her up on the phone. And I said, I'm on Frank Gillen, I'm a member of the 3rd Radio Squadron. And Professor Surrett told me to call you. And I was sort of aghast at the other end of the wire. She said, I never thought I'd meet anybody from the 3rd Radio. So I'd written a paper and read it before a group, talking about the history of civil intelligence in Northwest European War, and 3rd Radio was very much mentioned there. And that was Professor Dr. Diane Putnam. And she's our surprise visitor. I must say that Diane, might as well take a bow because it was due to you, in great measure, that the book was written. She not only got me documents, she showed me where I could find documents. And from getting a trickle, I got a flood. And these are documents because the military kept a lot of this under wraps for many years. Even though Enigma already had been discussed openly for 20 years, why intelligence, that's our word, was kept under wraps. And a lot of the documents were not declassified till the 1980s. In fact, one of the most important documents, as you'll see from this report, this story, was not released till 1996. And that's a long time to keep things classified. So that's the background of, well, part of the background of the book. The writing of the book was another story, too. I had so many documents, and I had so many interviews that I needed help to actually put together. I hired a lady who I knew I met on the trip to France in 1994. That's Paul Spellman. Between the two of us, she's in California and I, we use the internet and our computers, and we put together this book. Now, that's the background. And the story of how the 3rd Radio started, and I'm going to read this because I forget a lot of it as we go along. I hope you forgive me. In England, in late March 1944, while the English and American armies were preparing feverishly for the invasion of Normandy, only 2 months away, the U.S. 9th Air Force, whose assignment it was to conduct a tactical air war over the continent, ordered a Major Harry Turkell to form and train a new unit in time for the invasion. The new unit's task was to monitor and intercept German Air Force radio traffic while operating out of mobile caravans designed to keep pace with the advancing armies. The new unit was to be aptly named 3rd Radio Squadron Mobile, G for Germans. In order to perform the nearly impossible task in so short a time, Turkell was given extraordinary powers to co-opt men from any U.S. unit in the United Kingdom. His long arm even reached back to the States. I was a product of this levy. In late April '44, I was among 10 who had trained in German at Michigan State College and were then in a code-breaking class at Bent Hill Farm Station in Martin, Virginia. I don't know if you people know about Bent Hill Farms.
Sure.
It was the original, it became later the NSA. It was way out there in the sticks, big antennas sticking up. While we were there in April, we were suddenly ordered to prepare to leave within 24 hours by plane for London. We didn't know where we were going, what we were doing, but they told us like this: you're going to London, 24 hours by plane. That was it. Overseas medical, zoom. And to fly by plane in those days was most unusual. The 10 of us, who I guess we were like the blacks down south, we were in the back of the plane, and the colonels and generals were sitting in the front. But we were glad to go by plane. Troop transport was no fun. In order to form the voice intercept detachments, Major Turkel sought fluent German speakers. Fortunately, there were a number of candidates from among the GIs who were recent refugees from Nazi Germany. The Major personally interviewed most of the candidates. He was able to select among those with different German accents. I mean, he wanted to have a spread: Berlin, Hanover, and Munich, and Vienna. There were enough guys around from all these areas. The Detachment A, the code breakers, he was able to find two young and intelligent lieutenants, Mortimer Brockman, who I mentioned before, and Hugh Davidson, the University of Chicago graduate. They were the only ones in the squadron with previous code-breaking experience. As civilians, they worked with the Signal Corps in Washington. That's a bizarre story, by the way. Both of them enlisted about the same time and served separately. They were all sent to different places. They ended up in London in a camp for officers of the Signal Corps. And by coincidence, they were both picked by Major Turkel. They hadn't seen each other for all that time. They had worked together. And they were the core of our intelligence staff. Very bright men. Brockman died in the 70s. Davidson's still alive. I speak to him at least once or twice a month. He was about 86, I guess. In good shape. Very intelligent guy. With experienced British officers as teachers, we received hands-on training with real-time German messages at various places throughout southern England. The British proved to be excellent instructors, and apparently we were very apt pupils. By the end of October '44, our Chief Royal Air Force instructor, Group Captain Rowley Scott Farney, wrote into praise of the Supreme Headquarters, SHAE, claiming that we were the most successful mobile field unit on the continent, and that squadrons of fighter planes were often held at the ready for our intercepts. That's high praise indeed, because the British were the ones who taught us, and the British had been doing this for 4 years. And we actually had excelled their units. The RAF had 2 squadrons like us in their area. So we took that as a great pride, that commendation. On D-Day, a 20-man, actually it's a 40-man echelon from Detachment B, led by Lieutenant Gottlieb, was off Omaha Beach and landed on June 9th, during which 2 trucks sank and one of our men was killed. I'll tell you about that. It's a story in itself, but it's in my book. The voice intercept operation started on June 11th at Crequeville-en-Bessin. Those of you who've been to Normandy, that's 2 miles south of the place the Rangers landed at Pointe du Hoc. Anybody ever been to Normandy? In fact, when they got there, the 9th Air Force was also building a second landing strip for fighters right next to where we were, the foxholes we were supposed to build in that field. And there was still, the engineers trying to build that strip were still under fire from Germans in the surrounding woods. So it was still, very, had to stop with their bulldozers every so often while a bunch of guys went out and tried to shoot them, and they went back and started working again. It was a very hectic time. I wasn't there yet, but I'll tell you later about that. By the end of the month, the balance of Detachment B, all of Detachment A, and the nucleus of C were all dug in adjoining fields at the same place. C was awaiting the organization of the 19th Tactical Air Command to take place when Lieutenant General George Patton's Third Army went into action. What 3rd RSS did, each American Army had a tactical air force attached to it. 1st Army under that time was Bradley had the 9th TAC, and Detachment B was attached to them. C was attached to Patton's 3rd Army and 19th TAC. And later on we had another army called the 9th Army, not the 9th Air Force, the 9th Army under General Simpson. We formed Detachment D. That's what we recorded here. So we had 3 voice intercept detachments. Detachment A, my group, was strictly wireless intercept. And then we had another detachment, was another complicated story. That was sort of taking care of, Detachment E took care of our inter-squadron communication and sent our messages on to various headquarters. We were reporting to SHAFE, 9th Air Force, 9th TAC, Air Intelligence London. We had daily landlines and other communications with them. On the night of July 21st, the squadron had a weird experience. The usual German night intruders were overhead trying to drop their mines to interfere with our unloading operations at Omaha Beach, Step said. Heard a panic-stricken German pilot announce, "I've been hit, I'm losing altitude, let's get rid of my load." Before Tannenbaum had finished writing down his message on his pad, he saw a blinding flash in the field adjoining his, and seconds later, a blast wave knocked him off his chair. My detachment, A, was in the adjoining field, and I was hunkered down in my foxhole watching this Heinkel 111, tail of flame, coming in ever lower, and suddenly in the light of our exploding ACAC fire, seeing several parachutes drop from the stricken aircraft. These were concussion mines. Some exploded, setting off our own thermite grenades, kept on or in the vans to destroy them in case of imminent capture. We never saw such a bright light. The pressure wave from the grenades, from the mines, pressed me down in my foxhole as if an elephant was standing on my back. After it passed, I staggered to my feet and followed the path of the stricken plane as it dove toward the sea. At that moment, a fragment of shrapnel hit my left eye. And I spent a miserable night until I was able to remove it the following day. I'll never forget that because I had to walk down half a mile down the road, told the first sergeant, it's in my eye. And that was the casualty clearing station, right there. And there's a line of walking wounded, and all the other guys on stretchers, a lot of bloody bandages, moans. And I felt pretty out of place now, something in my eye. But I waited on mine, and I got to a medic who was seated on an ammo crate. And I told him what happened, and he said, "Don't worry." He took 2 of those Q-tips. I was remember this. He looked back my eye, and he said, "You're lucky I could see it." The other Q-tip, he picked it right off. It hadn't penetrated. He said, "Yeah, I want you to see it." I took it out. He said, "Because the next week you're going to feel like it's still in there." He was right. It didn't go away. He hadn't shown me that piece. I would have sworn it was still in there. And of course I walked fast. I didn't get a Purple Heart for that. The 2 guards on perimeter patrol were both flung into a hedgerow. Lieutenant Davidson, on duty in intelligence man, had just settled down on his recently acquired cot. But he was thrown to the floor by the explosion. He was puzzled to find himself covered with sand, until he recalled that our English caravans, they were English, had previously seen service in the Libyan desert campaigns of 1941 to 1943, and the sand was still in the walls. There were many cases of scratches and tears, but no serious injuries. It was really good fortune, but a lot of men were very busy the following morning, deepening their foxholes and dugouts. About a week later, the Allies broke out of their beachhead, and within a few days, Detachment A left Normandy via Avranches to set up operations in the small village of Parnay-sur-Roc near Laval, which is halfway to Paris. Our stay there was marked by a flood of activity because many German units in retreat were sending panic messages, some poorly enciphered, a few even in the clear. Some of these messages put a sword in our hand, as we were to learn from a surprise inspection visit by our new chief, Major General Hoyt Vandenberg. You know who he was. Yeah. I can still see him, tall and handsome man, standing in the doorway of our intelligence van and congratulating us on the fine job we did intercepting messages from and to the headquarters of the German 19th Army that resulted in the U.S. fighters shooting down 9 Ju-52 transports. German 19th Army was the army in the south, and they were retreating because we had landed in southern France, and they were afraid of being caught between the Allies coming from Normandy and the Allies coming from the south, And so their headquarters staff radioed back to Germany, please send planes. And they sent something like 9 or 10 or 11 transports. This is for the general staff of the 19th Army. We're talking about the cream of the crop. These were bearing many Army staff personnel trying to take off from airfields in Cognac and Bourges. General Vanderbilt promised to recommend us for a presidential unit citation, which we duly received in March 1945. And that's you've seen that before. We used to call that the toilet seat. I don't know if you remember that. He was true to his word. It was at Parnay on August 13th or 14th that we intercepted a message that I recall playing an important part in breaking. Traffic analysis identified the call signs as that being of the German reconnaissance squadron. Direction finding added that the flight originated from La Spezia in northern Italy, and that the aircraft was flying westerly along the Mediterranean coast. Armed with this information and the fact that the previous duty shift, the previous trick, had already postulated the letter J, I stared at the message with my mind on idle until suddenly, in an intuitive spurt, the name of the Corsican port of Ajaccio came to me. This helped break the entire message, and we found that the German plane was reporting on a concentration of Allied landing craft in the harbor of Ajaccio. They were to be used 1 or 2 days later for a landing in southern France. 9th Air Force headquarters became very excited when they received our break. They bombarded us with all sorts of questions. To this day, I'm not certain about their reasons, whether they hadn't been previously informed about the new landings, or whether they wanted to know more about what the Germans had observed. One of these things that happened. They ask questions, you don't know why, and you just give them information. Incidentally, I must say this. In our work, you all know this. Our job is to provide information and we pass it on to upper channels. We're rarely told the effects of what we do. And there are a few occasions in the history of the early third radio where we were told and were congratulated. And this is one of them. Vandenberg himself came to our caravans. And that was, I don't tell you how much that did for morale. You know what it is to